I want to mention also Lucia Anguissola, the younger sister, the third oldest in the family. Once again, we don't know her date of birth. We just have to sort of guess from the parents' marriage date and how many children were born, just an approximate date. We're not positive of her date of death, but we're fairly close. We're close to it because we know that Vasari came to visit the family in 1566 and was mentioning that the daughter had recently died. So that suggests, the date just the year earlier. We don't have a whole lot of pictures by Lucia. There's a few that are certainly by her, and then there are some others that are attributed to her, so I'm only showing you two paintings. One is a self-portrait. We think that Lucia was probably taught by her older sister Sofonisba, that there were the lessons for the two oldest girls, and then they would teach the other girls. We do know that she died young and unmarried. She was in her 20s. She might have been in her upper 20s from the approximate dates, as you can see here. And one of the things they say she imitates is this kind of hand gesture where there's a kind of a trapezoid or square made between the fingers of the hand and the thumb. So we see a self-portrait here. She's reading the small book. She's showing she's educated. It would either be a prayer book showing piety or a book of poetry showing just a aristocratic activity. Once again, she looks very modest. This is a portrait of Pietro Manna. And sometimes you'll see slight variations in the name, spelling of the name. It'll be like Pietro Maria. That's because Vasari got the name wrong, and so people would follow Vasari. But it has been documented that this is actually a portrait of a physician of Cremona named Pietro Manna. Also, if you're reading some of the literature, there'll be a reference to him as the grandfather of the girls. This seems to be a mistake, a misreading of an abbreviation in a document or an inscription. But remember, we said that Almacari, the Anguissola girl's father, was very interested in promoting the fame of his daughters. And so he's evidently invited Vasari to come and see the works that are still in the family household and meet the girls that are there. By this time, Sofonisba is in Spain. And Vasari says that he sees this portrait by Lucia, he describes it, portrait of a physician, and he mentions that Lucia has recently died. He praises Sofonisba, Lucia, and the younger girls. He praises them as artists, and also he praises them as virtuous young ladies. And he writes about them, Sofonisba and her sisters, in the second edition of his Lives of the Artists, which is published in 1568. Vasari's description would have told us that this painting is by Lucia Anguissola. However, if you had any doubts, she has written her name on the armrest of the chair that the sitter is sitting in. Lucia Anguissola, Almacaris, and then the F, which would stand for daughter or filia, adolescence, and another F, which would stand for fecit. So it would mean Lucia Anguissola, the daughter of Almacari, adolescent, made this picture. This was the picture that I wrote, a paper that I've given at one conference. I'm going to give it at another conference. And I'm probably going to put a copy of it on the website if you are interested. And I got very interested in the whole idea of the classical references in this picture. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the things that I said. One of the things you'll see in that inscription is an emphasis on the family. She doesn't just say, Lucia Anguissola made this. She tells us who she is. She's the daughter of Omacari. You know, there's family pride there. She's emphasizing her youth. So she probably, you know, do the math. If this were done around 1560, we don't know. And if she was born around 1537, so, you know, she probably is in her 20s at the time. Now, one of the reasons that we are able to know who this person is there was a medal struck with his name. And it identifies him as Pietro Mana, a physician of Cremona. And as you can see, there is a profile portrait of him. He certainly resembles the man in the picture, maybe a little younger. And on the back, there is a classical scene. And it is Asclepius, the physician god, being struck down by Zeus. The story in classical antiquity was that the physician god was so skilled that he was able to restore the dead. And Jupiter, or Zeus, was not going to let that power go into human hands or even into a demigod's hands, and strikes him down. So that is the picture that we see on the back. So it is a reference to the classical physician and related to, of course, the supposedly the great skill of the 16th century physician from Cremona. Now, I got very interested in the staff that he was holding. Someone's actually identified the exact breed of snake, which is a local snake. But I was interested in the classical reference. This, of course, is the Asclepian rod or Asclepian wand, the staff of the god Asclepius, that is the symbol of physicians, which has one snake wrapping around it. And here we have a little classical statue to show you what it looks like from ancient Roman times. Looks like a big club almost with a large snake around it, and here we have somewhat reduced things. So it's interesting because it is an emblem of the physician. It's also a classical emblem. And I have tried to find emblems of the physician as an individual rather than just sort of, you know, the god or medical personnel in general. It's a symbol of medicine or something. And actually putting this rod with the actual portrait of a particular physician, this is the first one I've been able to find. And I hesitate to say it is the first one because, you know, I probably may not know all of them, but it certainly seems to be, as far as I've been able to find out so far. So it is undoubtedly a reference to his profession as a physician. However, there's something I have not seen in any of the literature, except I've seen the talk about the artist's name, but I've never seen it connected with this. This tells us that Lucia has some classical knowledge, that she knows who the Greco-Roman god of physicians is. So that, you know, testifies to her humanistic knowledge. So right there, you know, family pride in showing that you have an educated young lady. But what I have not seen at all is the fact that it's a pun on the family name. Now, I've seen people say that this is what the family name means, but they haven't connected it with this painting as far as I know. The artist's family name is Anguissola. Angui is snake. Solo is what it sounds like. It's a single, or one, alone, snake alone, or as I translated a little alliteratively, the single serpent, or the snake alone, if you want. And so I kind of think that this is not just a reference to the the profession of the sitter, which is the thing that you would first think of, but I think it's also an emblematic reference to the artist's name and her family name. She is Anguissola. She is the single serpent. And that is her family name. So there, that hasn't been published yet.